you once, and I'll tell you twice the way I feel.
Hi there, this is episode 27, My Jamaican Heritage. My name is Theo. I'm glad you are here with me. So, I decided that I would talk about my heritage a little bit. Um, on the previous podcast, um, I've spoke about my family's history. You can actually search for that. And I figured I would actually go ahead and speak about my Jamaican heritage. Now, let's have this right. I am British. I was born here in Birmingham, and I've lived here most of my life. I've also lived in London as well. That's why you haven't heard my accent going very, very strong. But yeah, I've lived with my grandparents on my mother's side in a small town of Old Harbour, St. Catherine. Now, in Jamaica, that's made up of 14 parishes. Each one has a capital. In case where you're wondering, if with Spanish Town is the capital of St. Catherine, the parish where I grew up. And yeah, I've had a lot of fun memories having my couple of years I spent over there. So my grandparents lived on a farm. They had cows, dogs. It's great. It's crazy. Um, they grew everything from grapefruit to guava to mangoes to everything that you probably could think of. They grew it. And yeah, my grandfather would be up early hours in the morning, and he would be going to the farm, as it's called over there, the bush. And my granddad loved it, man. He loved it, loved it, loved it. He would spend all day, every day, if he could. But he would have a cut-off point. So about every night, around about 7 o'clock, the news would come on, primetime news. He would have his dinner, his big dinner that my grandmother would cook him, and he would have his yellow mug with a bit of a biscuit in it, and he would actually uh, sit there. He wouldn't even sit on the settee either. He would actually be on the floor with his hands behind his back like this, and he would be watching TV until the cows came home. The news mainly he would watch, but yeah, he did that until he fell asleep, and then he gone off and done the whole thing all over again. Um, he he would go to Old Harbour Bay and he would sell his stock that he had, eggs and fruits and all that stuff. He would do that on every Saturday, and yeah, he'd be doing that. He loved it, and you couldn't tear him away. He wouldn't travel for anything or whatever. He wouldn't really go out there and experience. That was just him and and the bush. It's sort of like when you have that sort of passion, you can't really take anybody away from it. So that's what he loved to do. As for my grandmother, she did odd jobs before um, she became a housewife. She always knew what to do. Let me tell you, my grandmother would actually go and travel a little bit more than my grandfather would. Um, and yeah, she was more or less the forefront of looking after myself, my brother, my cousins living over there. And I do miss her cooking. My God. I miss my grandmother's cooking like hell. Like she could make anything. And I remember, like I said before, my grandmother would have a big pot of food. But one of the things that my grandmother would say, because I was a slim guy, um, she would call me, Theo, you got a bottomless pit and everything I eat is just going and going, and you never really put on weight up until now, really. But um, she used to put on a big part of me, and I would eat it not like there's no tomorrow. And she would never ever ever get cease to be amazed by that. So yeah, I miss her cooking. She just, it's crazy. Um, my grandmother never liked to chill. If she wasn't cooking, she was cleaning, and I tried to do my best to do what I could to learn from her. So we learned how to make up the bed. We done simple cooking meals. Um, we um, what else do we do? Oh yes, we learn how to wash our clothes by hand. Yes, washing the clothes by hand. So we would be out there on a Saturday. We would wash our uniform by the hand and getting all the stains out, and then we'd fling it onto the line, and it would dry out, and then it'd be there ready for the next day. And then we also had to learn how to iron it ourselves. So she always said seam to seam. Yeah, I didn't have the trousers any seam to seam, and she would so sometimes I go. Sometimes if I didn't do it properly, she would say that no press, which means is that wasn't iron. So she did that, and she just she instilled that into us until we got it right, and that's what we done. So that was part of what we did over there. So growing up in Jamaica, it really opened up my eyes. Um, One of the things I loved about it really was the fact that when it rained, and it rains hard, um, at night the rain would fall on the zinc, and when it falls on the zinc, it has this sort of therapeutic kind of sound, and it was so good, so good that you didn't even mind the mosquitoes actually going across and everything, um, you know, and yeah, that's what we did. That's what we did. Like, it was the best feeling at the time. Speaking of the mosquitoes, one thing I used to do was because they would go and attract um, if you were sitting out somewhere and everything, they could bite you and bite you and bite you until the cows came home. So one of the things what I used to do was I used to have the towel and I used to wrap that around me. It didn't really so much matter about my face, but I used to wrap it around me and like just make sure that no mosquito could actually bite me. And that was one of the things I done. Um, it's a good deterrent, really. But my grandparents did end up getting um, mesh so small that not even mosquitoes can actually go through. So they fortified the whole house. So that was one of the things I did love about it. What else did I love about it? Um, I used to obviously the sunshine was great. Um, Yeah, the sunshine was great. It was more or less sunny, more or less all the time, except when it rains, it rains. Um, what else did I love? I love the fact that when you get up in the morning, it just feels nice. It feels nice. Um, there's like you get up, the sunshine up, and you're up around about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. You don't go to bed until about 9 o'clock in the evening. Not unless if you're one of those people that love to go out and everything. And believe you me, in Jamaica, when people go out and they have party and they go out for a dance and everything else, it like they bring the vibe, they bring the noise. That's how they did it over there. It's crazy. Um, Obviously, I love the tourist areas. So they got four main tourist areas. You got Ocherias, which means eight rivers. You got Montego Bay, which is the second city of Jamaica. You got Negril and you got Port Antonio. Those are the four main tourist areas that everybody goes to. Some people like to go Kingston, and they do, and they got a few things that's down there. Of course, I've been to Bob Marley's house. I've been to where he's buried, um, and I've been to other places as well, like Port Royal. Um, it's a wonderful thing to see as part of Jamaican history. So yeah, like I went down there and I did all that. Of course, I wasn't there as a tourist. Um, I was there to live, and I went to school over there. And the uniform that I wore was khaki, so I had khaki pants and khaki shirt, and the girls wore dresses. So every school dress around in Jamaica, every school, they had their own colours. So for example, I went to Davis Primary School, and they had blue, um, mostly blue with white trim. And then I went on to Old Harbour High, which has yellow and green. So that's what we did. For us boys, what we done was we had our uh, crest on the pocket of the shirt. So every school had that, so at least then everybody could be identifiable about what school they went to and everything. Um, so yeah, this education over there, it's mainly strict. You did homework every day, um, and we studied for tests. Um, and yeah, I used to what was the best things about it going to school? Oh, so every day a school day would happen, and we would go and have devotion. So we would sing songs of praise, and we have a prayer, and then the school would inform us about what's going on around in the school. And then we could go to our first lessons, and we did that for a bit, and then we went outside, have a break, come back in, more lessons, and then we had the lunch, and then there's more lessons, and then we didn't finish school until about three, sometimes 4 o'clock. Um, yeah, so that was it. Oh, and the one thing that really did open my eyes was the beating. Now, over here in England, right, teachers don't beat you. In Jamaica, they beat you. No questions asked. They beat you. I was beaten with belts. I was beaten with thick rulers, size about this size. Um, I was beaten with sticks as well. Um, the teachers didn't really mess about because they could do it. They could do it, and yeah, that's what happened. That's what went down when I was in school. So yeah, I had good times in school. I made some good friends who I still talk with now. They grow up and they got married, having children and all that stuff. Um, yeah, but it's one of those things that really did open my eyes as well. Um, of course, I went to school over there, but how did I get to school? Sometimes I would walk, but most of the time I would take taxis. My grandparents didn't really drop us into school. There's only probably a couple of times that my granddad did. Um, but honestly, I would take a taxi. So over here, you would actually call up a taxi, and they will be around in a few minutes, and then they take you where you want to go. Not so in Jamaica. You got to go from where you live, walk down, and you go to the main road, and then you kind of wait to the taxi. They take you up, and guess what? You're gonna be in there stuck with about 10 people in that taxi, and you're going to where you're going. So imagine if you have a school lunch, consider that crushed. Seriously. Um, and you don't get no room and everything. So you could feel like some people would get a bit claustrophobic in there and everything, but me, I just kind of went with it. And yeah, I done that for a while and everything. So that's really what I used to do. That's what I used to do. So yeah, in Jamaica, like it's still considered as a um, third world country. They're trying to do a lot more in terms of like the main benefactors of the economy are tourism and agriculture. So that's how they literally built the country on, to be honest. Um, Obviously, there's got a lot of music stars that's come out of Jamaica. People like Sean Paul, people like Shaggy. You got the athletics, the strong athletics people that come out, like Usain Bolt, for example. Um, and got they're passionate about the cricket, so they're passionate about the West Indies. That makes up all the things. So you got Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, all that stuff, and they come together and they take on the rest of the world and everything. They're passionate about cricket, passionate about football. Um, what else? What else I can say about Jamaica? I think Jamaica's kind of given me um, how to learn about people, um, how to kind of understand and appreciate what certain things that I've got, but also kind of have to learn how to rough it as well. So I'm appreciative of all that stuff. I'm appreciative of the friends that I made over there. I'm appreciative of my grandparents. They passed away a couple of years ago. Um, but I totally appreciate everything what they've done for me. Um, yeah, so like with Jamaica, it is a beautiful island. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just that it's still considered as a third world country, but it's hard. There's a lot that does go on. There is violence over there. Um, there is violence over there. There, people are people do struggle to kind of get by. Um, And also, if there's because everything you have to pay for over there, everything. Not everything comes free. There's very few things I can actually think that actually comes free, but like it's very few. Um, so yeah, like if you wanted to go to the doctors and everything, obviously you got a queue and you gotta be first in line. So you gotta be at the crack of dawn, first in the morning. Even if you go to the bank, that happens. So you gotta be at the first. You gotta be first in line. Make sure you got everything that you need. So because when you're there and everything, they can't serve you. You gotta go back to that line, and you don't want that. So it's all those sorts of things that goes on down there. Um, I miss having patties, fresh patties. Um, what else do I miss about Jamaica? Um, I used to see a lot of the American shows over there. My grandparents had no cable, so we survived having to watch either TVJ or CVM. We don't know that stuff. It's mad, and we had to kind of entertain ourselves. So it was one of those kind of things really that we did because growing up on a farm, we are city people, so we wasn't really accustomed to all that stuff. So yeah, I just think that it was a good thing to do, being over there, having to learn another country, um, and learn about the people and learn about my heritage. I'm totally grateful for being a Jamaican descendant, and to understand what my roots are and how I done things. Like I understood my family a little bit more, and yeah, I'm just grateful. So there you have it. That's really my family's, not my family's. That's really my Jamaican heritage. So if you like what you've heard, drop it in the comments below, like it, share it, do all that stuff. I will be back next week. I'm sorry for this late post. Um, a lot happened today, and but I've got it out, and I'll be back next week with another podcast. So yeah, until then, stay safe. This is your boy Theo right here on Shakedown. Peace.